we had a comment recently, and he said, "I'm not a Republican, but I can tell the downfall and eventually the decline of this country will most definitely be the result of Democratic policies. They are destroying the family structure. Corporations are overtaxed."
And notice that this is a man.
This is,
and so,
yeah.
you know,
You are right,
99%
sir.
of
Yeah.
99% of female voters, that black female voters, voted for Biden.
Right.
99.
Think about that.
Think about what that is. That means
That's
that
disproportionate. I mean, that. Come on now.
it's less
Yeah.
for black men,
Yeah.
but 99% of black female voters voted for Joe Biden. That's really disturbing. There is no other race
Yeah.
in our nation
Yeah, that's what's
that
saying,
votes like that, except for us.
It's very suspect and it's very telling. Hi everybody, welcome back to our channel. We are going to be answering another email today. This email is from Derek. He says, "You two mentioned being on the conservative side of things politically. I'm a black man. I would consider myself to be a conservative. For many years, I was a proud Democrat, but now it literally doesn't make sense to me. My wife thinks I'm losing it, laugh out loud, but really I've just started paying attention. Do you think black people are starting to change politically?" I did ask him though if his wife is black, and he said yes. So now we know where we're at here. So do you think black people are starting to change their stand politically? Yeah, a little bit I do. A little bit I do. Now, it's not shocking to me. So you said your wife is black. So it's not shocking to me that your wife would not necessarily be on board with the whole conservative. Now, I'm not sure if you're a Republican or not. You know, just because you're conservative doesn't not necessarily mean you're a Republican. But yeah, it seems like black men like kind of like started seeing the other side of things a little bit more clearly and not so emotionally when it comes to the political stuff. Whereas a lot of black women have really, most of them has stayed in their Democratic kind of way. So that's really not shocking to me that she would think that it's just like you're crazy, especially if you like believe in like some of Trump's policies or just a Republican policy and things like that. It's just that black people are just not used to that, I think. You know, but I do know black people that are leaning more conservative, but I think that they just feel uncomfortable saying that. We mentioned that in our video before, but talking about politics, I just think they feel uncomfortable because, you know, when you're black, you're supposed to be Democrat, right? So when you go a different way, all of a sudden you're a coon, you're sellout, you know what I mean? Like, so it's the whole thing. But yeah, I do think they're starting to change politically. I see more and more black, like, those like podcasts, black conservative podcasts, and you know, like shows and things like that, YouTube shows and things where black people are really starting to see.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to leave the plantation.
Right.
I'm going to keep it real. I mean, it is.
True.
I mean, we are indoctrinated to the Democratic Party. And really, the Democratic Party was the party of slavery. The Democratic Party is the party of Jim Crow. The Democratic Party is the, you know, the party that, you know, has made, well, the welfare state. You know, you know, Lyndon B. Johnson, you know, the whole reason that we have so many people on welfare is because he signed that into law, broke up a lot of black families. So yeah, it's hard to leave the plantation. It's hard to be Nat Turner.
Yeah.
And Harriet Tubman. It's hard to think differently when everybody that looks like you has been indoctrinated to think one way. And you know, the funny thing is, it's not just poor blacks; it's rich blacks. And the rich blacks make sure the poor blacks pull the lever for the Democratic Party.
I agree with that.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean,
that is true.
That's how I feel about, you know, I was a Democrat. I voted for Obama the first time. You know what I mean? I was a Democrat. I was more of a progressive, actually. You know, but there is a part of me that was mostly a Democrat because I felt that other people didn't have. I know how this sounds, but I feel like a lot of people don't have the. Like, how, you know how when I was saying things like feel sorry for me movements, I don't need women's rights to tell me I have rights. I don't need women's rights to hold me up. I don't need Black Lives Matter to make me feel secure as a black person.
That's a very, see, when that talking, that's a very Republican way of talking. So,
but that's what I'm saying. I feel like I've always been more conservative personally. Now, I've always felt like a lot of people that weren't me, because I live, sometimes you like to vote outside of yourself, so I used to think, well, maybe other people don't feel the way I feel about myself, so I'll vote for Democrats because Democrats will, I guess, help people.
Right.
You know what I mean? But as I've gotten older and as I've seen the way the world is shifting, I don't like the way it looks in America anymore. I like America. I love my country. But the thing is, it's like I feel like we're starting to become whiny and complain about things that honestly, in other countries, we couldn't even complain about vocally. The fact that you can go out and protest Dave Chappelle. Like I said in the video, when we talked about Dave Chappelle, you be a gay person, a transgender person, and go to Saudi Arabia and do something like that.
It wouldn't work well for you.
Believe me, those gay people and transgender people in the country can stay silent because there's no freedom there. They have Sharia law, so
they're still beheading and they're still hanging over there
and pushing people off buildings.
Yeah, so
they do that there. They will, if you're gay, they will literally town square you up and throw you off a building. So that's what I'm saying. You're lucky you're in a country where you can actually complain about it.
Right.
You're lucky as a black person that you can walk off and be part of BLM. It's like there's a lot that we are able to say and do here, and we don't even realize. Like, you know what I mean? I talk to women who are all feminists, and I'm like, you are not oppressed. Again, go to one of these Middle Eastern countries where women aren't even allowed to drive. That's oppression. When you can't go and walk down the street without men accompanying you because they don't believe women should walk around alone or go anywhere by themselves. That's real oppression. When you can't buy food for yourself because the whole country is socialist or communist. And you have to do what the government tells you to do, and you're starving. Right. That's real oppression. What we have here is the feeling, like you said, the feeling of oppression.
Yeah.
We feel like we are because the news media is so powerful that they can actually make you feel like you are a victim. And you're not.
I also think that my thing with the Democratic Party, because in our country obviously we have other parties, but viable parties that are given any kind of chance are the Democrats and Republicans. So in this country we have just really a two-party system. But if you want to be real about it, it's just a two-party system. So when I think about the Democratic Party, I think that they have aided and have pandered to that thought of oppression. I think that they've pandered to Black people to help them feel sorry for themselves, right? And so in turn, we've done that,
right?
And I think that's the reason why we haven't progressed is because we've been, I guess, brainwashed into that party, right? And even whether you want to be a part of the political process or not, the truth is that you can't help but watch the pandering of it all, and that was my big thing, I think, with the whole Democratic Party, because like Kara said, I was a Democrat myself for a long time. I would consider, I guess, myself to be an independent, leaning towards if it was between a Republican and a Democrat right now, and we were voting like tomorrow, I would vote Republican. And the reason why is because the Democratic Party has, I don't know, it's as if they think Black people are stupid, or that we can't live,
like there's nothing worse than hearing a white liberal tell me I'm oppressed.
Yeah, I know.
First of all, you don't even know what it's like to be Black, and they'll be like, well, what's it like to be Black? The same as it's like to be white. I'm not oppressed. You know what I mean? It's like what you're feeling white guilt.
I'm not,
because that's what the Democratic Party's done to white people. They've tried to make them feel bad about being white so that they can denounce themselves really and make Black people feel better. I don't need you to move on in life. You know what I mean? We don't there's this feeling of sort of white acceptance.
There's a big problem.
That I don't really like. Yeah. I don't like that.
You're saying that. Wait, I'm sorry, but you're just saying that you feel like Black people are trying to get white acceptance. Is that what you mean? Like we have this problem where we're trying to be accepted by
Well, I just
white
think
people,
like,
I think, was making themselves different than white people.
or we're trying to get white people to feel some sort of pain they're never going to feel about something that none of us have really gone through. So it's like none of us most people who are alive today have not gone through Jim Crow.
Right.
You don't even know, and most black people don't even know what that is, what that feels like. That's real oppression. Our grandparents.
I can't sit here and say that I know exactly what that feels like.
Yeah.
I have a lot of respect for black people who went through that at that time, though.
Right.
But
I look at black people, even slavery.
Yeah.
I look at slavery, civil rights. Now, our grandmother and our grandmother was a white woman who married our grandfather, who's a black man, during the civil rights movement.
Right. Not popular.
And they didn't know where they were going to live.
So they got married when it wasn't popular.
It wasn't any Kim Kardashian moments here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Not popular.
She said they got things written all over their door, and they didn't know where they should live. It was dangerous to live in a white neighborhood, but black people didn't want to see her with a black man.
Right.
You know, and they had 6 kids together.
And
my grandma, even my mom, you know, said being biracial and then having to go to a Catholic school because they became Catholic because it was the only religion that would marry them as an interracial couple, and they moved to Indianapolis because it was the only. I think
they went to Illinois.
They went to Illinois to get married
because Illinois was legal.
It was legal to get married there, and then they came here. But my grandmother said that even when she was having my aunt, her oldest child, that they had a hard time finding a place for her to be born. You know what I mean? Because a lot of doctors didn't want to deal with the fact that she's carrying a black man's child.
Right.
You know what I mean? So they had a lot of things that today would be absurd. That just we would look at that as crazy and stupid. You know what I mean? But then it was a real thing. You don't feel that we are as oppressed as we would like to be thought of.
Well, and as oppressed as we're being told we're supposed to be. Right. Like they're making it seem like, when I say they, I do mean like liberal media is making it to where we have to. They're wanting black people to feel like, I guess, like sorry for yourself, but more than that, kind of like, we can help you. You know, we can help you, black people. Just, you know, vote our way, come our way. You know what I mean? It's just. It's really obnoxious, to be honest with you, and it's I don't know. It's really just kind of sleazy the way they.
And there's just several things of how the Democratic Party treats black people. Like for instance, how they pander to us so much. That's disgusting.
I know.
Like Hillary Clinton on the Breakfast Club telling her that she puts hot sauce in her bag. And she said that because she was trying to get black votes. And then Joe Biden telling Charlamagne, "You ain't black, and if you have a problem determining whether you want to vote for me or Trump, then you ain't black." It's like, who do you think you are?
You see but you see how bold he was to say that. He knows he can say that to black people. He knows that he can talk like that to black people. You know why? Because with over 90% of black people vote Democrat. That is the most of any
and let
other
me tell
racial
you, Charlamagne, after that whole thing happened, Charlamagne took cover for him.
Yeah, he did.
Oh, he was just, being interviewed.
He skimmed over it when we really need to talk about that.
The black community has the problem that they have with the Republican Party is that Republicans just don't pander to black people.
No.
They will say, look, these are how we do things.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? In our country, we're free. You have the choice to be poor or you have the choice to be rich. They just say that for anybody. I don't care if they don't pander to really white people either. It's just white people tend to feel okay. Even poor whites tend to feel okay with having being in charge of their own self. They don't want the government telling them what to do all the time and how to live. You know what I mean? And so I feel that way too. I don't really want the government to tell me I need to get a vaccine. I don't want them to tell me I have to do something. And so for me, I don't like the victimization of what we've become. It's like they think that we need them. Like we actually belong to them. And then the instant you don't want to be a Democrat, the white Democrats treat you like you're just a sellout.
Yeah.
It's just
really
like,
weird.
How dare you call me a sellout?
It's very strange because they know that base, though, is in the upper 90%, which honestly is odd.
Yeah.
Because no other a race of people have that type of demographic with one party. It's just more spread out. But black people are just have a love affair with the Democratic Party, and they won't. A lot of them not letting loose. Now, I think that when it comes to like like remember when LL Cool J spoke out, P Diddy, Ice Cube, these people all said something before this election because the way it was looking with Biden, it wasn't not looking good, right? Obviously, it's not great, right? And they immediately got called coon, sellout, like you're straight up people. I'm like, no, they're just independently. They had an independent thought, and they did some critical thinking and logical thinking, by the way, right? Logical, critical thinking, and the result of that is, I'm not voting for Biden. Like, why would I do that? Like, I don't. If this is what it means to be a Democrat or a liberal, then maybe I'm not one.
Right.
And I think what a lot of black people have. That's where they're coming to right now. Like what Derek is saying. I don't think that it makes sense to be. As a black person, just personally speaking, it doesn't make sense to be.
I mean, really, what has the party done for any of us?
Right.
Not much. Nothing. I mean, think about it.
Yeah.
I mean, not anything really. And every year, like Black Lives Matter, you barely hear about that anymore now because he got elected.
He got elected.
So now they're done,
over,
and now they're moving on to Hispanic people. And the thing is like even the way Joe Biden talked to the Black Caucus, with all those civil rights leaders talking down to them. He was just like, I've done more for you people than anybody's done. That's what he said to these people.
If I can find that clip.
And then he went and said, and you better start worrying about the Hispanic people because they're going to replace you basically. They're saying that because there are. We've kind of stagnated at about 13% of the population. Right. The Hispanic community is growing, and they're focusing on them now. So that's the thing is like they pander. I mean, even when he went to go talk to an Hispanic crowd, I think in Florida, he went up to the podium, got his iPhone out, and played his salsa. This is what they do. This is why I left the Democratic Party because I feel like they do nothing, but they do everything to pander to you. Right. And with all of them taking a knee in African garb.
We did a video of that where Nancy Pelosi and all of them took a knee, and then wore their African. And I'm like, this is pander.
It's like they think that we're stupid. They think the truth is that we do vote for them. And you know what I mean? And it's like, when are we going to jump off the plantation and realize that we really don't need a party? That you can't think independently. I mean, even with critical race theory, the reason why McAuliffe lost to Youngkin in Virginia is because they wanted because parents were starting to realize what their kids are being taught in school. Right. And no one wants CRT. We don't need to teach white kids how to hate themselves to make black kids feel better about themselves. There's no need to do that. When
Condoleezza Rice talked about that on The View, the View talking about, and I'm like, then she got, of course, they got on her about that, but I'm thinking, but no, listen to what you're saying. You're right. She's right.
Why do we need to teach
Why do we need to teach? I don't care if it's a little white kid or whatever. Why do we need to teach someone to hate their whiteness?
Make them shame them for things that white people did in the past. Which, by the way, not all white people did. Right.
It's just too much pushing of agendas on that side. So we're not saying that, we're not trying to convert anybody here, by the way. I mean, like, I'm not even, I would still consider myself an independent. If I was voting right now, I was independent. I would not vote Democrat. So between Republican and Democrat, I definitely would vote Republican.
But if anything, that isn't what if anything, I'm saying open your mind.
Open your mind.
I'm not saying be a Republican, Democrat, independent, whatever. I'm saying don't question your party.
Right. And people are not doing that. They're
just pull the lever because your pastor said that we should all be Democrats. Right. That's what happens. They go to churches and they make, that's what they're saying. Someone was saying the other day that they said black pastors talk about politics in church, and there's no room for that. Why are you talking? You talk about the Bible. Stay out of you stay out of state.
Even like towards like the voting time. Even like when they start doing the rock the vote. Here we go. Like. The Republicans don't need
to do that,
to do all of that, right? But we're sitting here getting Jay-Z and Beyonce to rock the vote. Everybody's putting rock the vote T-shirts on. They're having rock the vote concerts. They're trying to get people excited about voting only for them, not for just voting. By the way, when they say rock the vote, They're talking about vote
First of all,
Democrat.
I don't think celebrities should endorse anybody.
I don't think so
I don't
either,
think you should
yeah.
publicly endorse anybody. What's her name? Kurt
Yeah.
Kurt Russell was on The View, and they were asking him about his political beliefs or whatever. He said, "I don't want to talk about it." He said, "Honestly, I think celebrities should stay out of politics in the media like that. We shouldn't be telling people who to vote for. We don't live in the real world." We have none of us at this table he was talking about. None of us at this table have any idea what regular people live through for us to be telling them who and not to vote for.
Yeah, that's correct.
Because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter who wins. They're all wealthy and they all win.
Yeah.
So it didn't matter if Trump wins or not. If Trump wins, they're still wealthy.
Right.
If Biden wins, they're still wealthy. Politics really affects the regular person. And so that's why I don't really pay attention to endorsements. Because I think that endorsements are just ridiculous, and I think it's just another way for celebrities to put their nose into something that really just be an actor, just be a singer. Stop trying to get people to do things your way.
A lot of people I know, they watch mainstream media, and I think that might be like Derek. I think that might be like the bigger problem right now is that a lot of Black people that I know are all watching mainstream media. So they're on there watching CNN and MSNBC and C-SPAN and all these. And so when you watch the mainstream liberal media, which is mostly liberal media at this point, it's I always feel like it's like 90% entertainment, maybe 10% news. It's not really, if you really watch, it's not really that. So people are not really, I think, getting information. Yeah. So we watch alternative media, so basically online media, because they don't censor themselves. They do actual journalism and actual investigations. They go out and, you know what I mean? And so what we're seeing now with like this CNN type thing is that there really are just talk pieces to the, you know what I mean? They got someone in the air saying something, it's like robots.
Yeah, I mean,
there's no
really,
real journalism anymore.
Right. I mean, celebrities really do their footwork for them. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
because the only reason Joe Biden allowed Cardi B to interview him is because he wanted her millions of followers.
That's it.
Because he knew that her group of followers would be watching.
Yeah.
It's the exact same thing when Nicki Minaj questioned the mandate or questioned the vaccine. She didn't say I won't get the vaccine. She said I just want to I have questions. And again, she has 20 million followers, and then they got mad at her because of that, because they know she's got 20 million followers. They came Cardi B's got all those followers, and they wanted hers. So it's just like the way that they do things is they use these celebrities to sort of get at youth, for sure, and then to pander to certain race groups, and also sexualities. You know what I mean? Because like we were saying about trans, gay, LGBT, it's just like a lot of the L and the G, or the L and the G are like, well, transgender really has nothing to do with this, but they lump them all together because together they're stronger together. Like if you look on Black Lives Matter's platform, it's not just Black people. They also have added LGBTQ. Because that's how you get more people when you start. They're trying
to corner the minority.
Right.
The minority. Any minority. It doesn't matter what kind of minority. They're just trying to corner that. And I just feel like it's
really kind of sickening to me.
And politics in general, though, I like politics. Like I keep up with it and everything, but politics in general is very corrupt. I mean, I don't care what side you're on.
Right.
It doesn't matter. But it is a corrupt kind of establishment type, So we're aware of that, right? But there are things that you can do, and not be on board with to get your government to change. There's other countries that won't do certain things, and their government is forced to change for their citizens, right? And I just think that in our country, we don't have that. The media is just feeding you things. Mainstream media is feeding you misinformation, and many times just wrong information, and a lot of times just plain old lies.
Right.
You know what I mean? And then you just kind of go with it, because if you're only watching, like I get it, if you're only watching CNN and you're only watching MSNBC type, you really are just you're just getting propaganda. But when you, like with me, what I did was I just stopped watching that. I want to see what they all have to say and what's making more sense. And when it started to be like, well, why are the Republicans making more sense right now? Like factually. You know what I mean? Like, and that's back in my Democratic mind.
Yeah.
Like, why were they making I could not understand why they were making more sense than the other party. And that, because I've always been embedded in me that, no.
Well, because they're making sense the Democratic Party is free. Because they're inclusive. Right. They accept everybody.
Yeah.
But the truth is that they accept you. They want everyone to look different, but they don't want you to think different.
Right.
So as long as you they don't care if you're gay, straight, transgender, black, white, Spanish, man, woman, they don't care, as long as we're all thinking the same.
Yeah.
The instant you start thinking differently, it doesn't matter if you're any of those races. They will suddenly push you out. Yeah. You know what I mean? And no one has pushed me out. I'll just leave.
We had a comment recently. Is it Mike? How do you say that name?
I don't know.
He comments sometimes about, and I like the comments, but it's spelled MYK. I can't my glasses. MYKB. Anyways, he commented today, I think, and he said, "I'm not a Republican, but I can tell the downfall and eventually the decline of this country will most definitely be the result of Democratic policies. They are destroying the family structure. Corporations are overtaxed."
And notice that this is a man. 99% of female voters, that black female voters, voted for Biden.
Right.
99.
Think about that.
Think about what that is. That means
that's disproportionate. I mean, come on now.
It's less for black men, but 99% of black female voters voted for Joe Biden. That's really disturbing. There is no other race in our nation that votes like that, except for us.
It's very suspect, and it's very telling.
Yeah.
It's suspect on the end of the Democratic Party, but they pander very well, obviously. And then it's also telling that black people,
we're just extremely gullible.
We're just gullible, and we kind of just go, we're sheep. Yeah, we are being sheep. We are, because we're not what's right in front of us. We're not seeing what's right in front of us. Or we are seeing it and we just don't care.
Yeah.
Or we just don't want to call it out. But he is right. He is right about that.
But it makes
you don't have to be a Republican.
Right.
Like, he's not a Republican. So you don't have to be a Republican to know something that's extremely obvious. Like this person is just paying attention.
Right. So that's what I'm saying. It's really not about right or left. It's about asking yourself how you want your country to be and look. And are you satisfied? And for the last 20 years, have you been satisfied with the way the country actually is running? And my answer is no. I don't like where we're going.